Hey everyone, and welcome back to another, albeit sort of late, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 review. Now, I didn't post a video last week as I normally do because I tried so hard to think of like what I wanted to say about episode 5, right? I just I couldn't think of enough to say. It would have basically been a YouTube short, and so I didn't see the point in doing it. So I figured I would wait till the newest episode came out, episode 6, do a double review, so that's what we're going to do. Now, episode 5 was basically three main things happened. We pick up with the aftermath of Vanessa getting injured. She's in the hospital throughout the whole episode. Not the whole episode. Well, she's in the hospital for the whole episode. We start off, she gets taken into the ER. Doctors perform surgery on her. And she ends up, the doctor comes out, he even talks to Wilson and says to him, I'm going to do the best I can. I'll do whatever I can, to make sure she's all right. Well, that's going on. We have Buck and Daniel. They drive off because essentially there's more leaks going on. It's kind of obvious that it's BB and or his assistant, the mayor's assistant lady person. It's pretty obvious. And we already kind of know because spoilers, she's the mayor in Spider-Man Brand New Day, so kind of already know. But Buck ends up taking Daniel out to the woods. They drive by a hardware store and they get, a shovel and a power saw. A little one of those like little handheld power saws. And they go out to the middle of nowhere. Daniel's like freaking out because he's thinking he's going to die and he's begging Buck to spare him. And then Buck tells him get out of the car. They go to the trunk and there's this dead body. I still can't make out who it was. I've seen the scene multiple times. I cannot for the life of me figure out who it is. But anyway, they basically bury the body. While that's going on, and while the thing with Vanessa's going on, we go to the one part of the episode that I actually cared about, and that is Matt and Bullseye. Daredevil Bullseye. After the events of the end of episode 4, Matt comes in, he saves Bullseye, and he ends up taking him. Because Bullseye is really wounded. He's beat up from his scuffle with the AVTF. And Matt's basically trying to take Bullseye to their kind of like hideout. And they end up getting to and going through the church that keeps popping up. And there's actually genuinely some really cool dialogue between Matt and Bullseye. And again, it's the most interesting thing because Bullseye just wants Matt to leave him there. He's like, because he even said in episode 4, this evens it out. This is, my penance. It makes everything right. So you just leave me to die. And Matt, because of who he is, because of his faith, he just can't bring himself to do it until towards the end of the episode. The AVTF, because they're trying to find him, and obviously the two of them, and they end up, making their way to the church. They're getting there, and Matt realizes like I can't do it. I can't save us both, and he leaves. He's like, forgive me, I tried, and he leaves. He starts walking. He gets so far, and he kind of, has, he thinks about some things, and I think he has some flashbacks. And flashbacks are the other part of this episode I want to talk about. But basically, he goes back because he realizes, again, that just is contrary to who he is. He goes back, he grabs Bullseye, takes him to their hideout, and basically we see Karen there practicing on her fight because she's got to be she's got to be an all awesome action star now instead of the actual good character she was in the Netflix show. And she sees the two of them. He kind of gives a little help, and then we see Wilson we cut back to Wilson and Vanessa, and Vanessa wakes up talking with Wilson, and she asks him, to tell her the story of when they first met. So he does. And she's kind of like all happy, and he's all excited that she's back. And then she says to him, tell the story of how the first time we met. So it's kind of like she's got a little bit of brain damage, maybe like short-term memory issues and things. But then in the end of the episode, we do officially lose her. And it's kind of redundant in my eyes because, honestly, as I'm sure you guys could tell if you watch any of my other reviews, I don't care about Vanessa anymore. I mean, she cheated on the Kingpin in season 1 of Born Again, and they took a character who was awesome in the Netflix show. She's a real ride or die. Clear that she loved him and just ruined her. So I didn't care about her dying. So seeing Wilson be upset that his wife died, I didn't really care. It was kind of, very bleh. Now, the other thing, and kind of my biggest issue with this, which is irony, which is also the thing I like the most, we got a lot of flashbacks. We got to see how Buck, met and had, ties to Kingpin. Because we got to see Wesley. We got the actor who played Wesley on the Netflix show. He came back, and he knew Buck. They had him, because there's this flashback to this case that Matt and Foggy are working on, and it connects with someone that Kingpin wants taken care of. So there's kind of the through line there. And Wesley essentially gets a hold of Buck to have Buck take the guy out. All the while, the guy that he's trying to take out is the person that Foggy and Matt are representing at the time. They haven't really fully, this is way before season 1. They haven't, gotten really into their law stuff. They're still very new into it. And I believe it was, he ended up being Foggy's high school bully or something like that. So Foggy really wants to help him. He ends up kind of becoming friends a little bit. And in these flashbacks, seeing them intercut with the actual Born Again show, obviously, they were trying to be like, hey, remember, you like the Netflix show? Remember, our show's cool too. And it did the exact opposite. You could really tell they were trying to play on that nostalgia, when in reality, at least for me, all it did was show me just how far we've fallen. And it hurt Born Again more than it actually helped it. So that's basically it for episode 5. Episode 6 is basically, we're dealing with fallout from what happened with Vanessa. We see the funeral. We see how, I believe it's the governor. She feels that because Vanessa's gone, she can't, get through to Fisk, and she's talking to his assistant, mayor assistant lady, and starts, dropping the things. She's like, hey, you should run for mayor. So it looks like by the end of the season, he's either going to get impeached or quit. Because I think it's, even at one point, BB shows up to the hospital to see Daniel to try to get any information she can from him. And he tells her that Fisk said he's not running anymore. After this term, he's done. And the episode starts off with, I believe, I can't remember if it was the AVTF or if it was Mr. Charles's people, but these people show up to this house and they start attacking it. And there's this little girl, she's just playing, and her mom goes out to take care of them. And after, the fight's taken care of, her mom walks in and we see, oh, it's Jessica Jones. And so while the whole funeral and everything's going on with Fisk, Jessica meets Matt, leads him to the warehouse where all his guns, because Fisk had moved all the guns from the ship to this warehouse. And Jessica is talking to Matt. She was telling him about, how she got attacked and things. And she says that Mr. Charles, I believe it was Charles, Matthew Lillard's character, were trying to recruit like superhumans or like vigilantes or whatever. She said, I said no, but some said yes. So are we led to believe that like maybe like Iron Fist, maybe Luke Cage said yes? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But so she leads Matt to this warehouse, and she basically asks him like basically want to do something, make some trouble, make some noise or something like that. So they go in, and Jessica also says to Matt, like her powers are kind of like fluctuating a little bit. She wasn't on her game as she normally was. And she even says it's not like a manual for these things. These things happen. And Matt says, yeah, not to you though. So they go in, they take out, and this is something because I don't watch other people's stuff, reviews or anything until after I've seen the episode. So I'll watch the episode, then I'll see just what other people are saying. And something that I've seen a lot of people bring up that I didn't even really pay attention to. These AVTF guys, because you figure it's this one specific task force in New York City, which granted, New York City is a very big place, but it just seems like, because these guys are like, we had Bullseye kill a bunch of them at the beginning of episode 4. We had plenty of them in the first couple episodes getting knocked out, beat up, like put in like wounds that'll put them in the hospital. But they just seem to have like infinite respawn. Because they go through Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and they're fighting just, like guy after guy after guy after guy, and so they just keep coming. I started thinking about people saying that. I'm like, yeah, they kind of do just seem to just not stop. They just keep coming. It's like, where are they getting all these guys from? They're just taken from like the regular cops now, or what? It's just kind of weird, because it does seem like there's just a lot of them, and Powell, the head guy from season 1, like he's everywhere. He's always there for some reason. I don't know, but that goes on, and there's another kind of like through line of, in this episode, I had already kind of started disliking Karen for how they had her written, and especially in this season, because she wasn't really in the first season. But this episode made me hate her as a character, because she gets into this argument with Matt. And it almost feels like they're trying to like, nostalgia bait reference the Daredevil Punisher scene from season 2 of Daredevil. Because Karen is mad that Matt won't kill Fisk or Bullseye, and she wants him to. And she goes, I pay every day for all the, for killing Wesley and all that. And it's so interesting because, again, if you watch that episode in season 1 where she kills him, it freaks you out. Like in season 3 has a big part of that. It's kind of the big crux of the story of season 3. And it bothers her, it messes with her head. She has like PTSD from it. Yet she's no problem pulling out guns, shooting at the AVTF, fighting these guys. Now all of a sudden she's okay and she wants to kill everybody. So Matt, she basically gets mad because Matt tells us, like, I can't do that. We can't be like judge, jury, and executioner. And she is mad at him for that. And she's just an insufferable wench throughout the whole thing. And it's like, she knows Matt. She knows about his Catholicism. She knows who he is. She knows that's not who he is. So it's like, why are we doing this? It generally just felt like they were just trying to, like, people like the Daredevil Punisher. Let's kind of have like our own version of that. And at one point, because, Matt goes off to help Jessica, he leaves Bullseye handcuffed to the bed there with Karen. And Bullseye, when he finally comes to, he tries to goad her into killing him. And she picks up a gun, and she almost does, and Matt shows up just in time. He knocks the gun out of her hand, and that's when they have their big fight. Which really just ruined Karen for me, which really sucks, because she was such a great character in the original series, and now I'm kind of just like, can you die, please? What else? Oh, there's this really weird scene after the funeral, where Heather Glenn goes into, I'm assuming it's Vanessa's room, or her and Fisk's room, and she takes these earrings, and Buck ends up coming in and talks to her, and she's talking about the kind of the PTSD she's been having and the visions of seeing Muse from that scenario, and she's talking about how she felt guilty for killing him, and Buck's like, well, you did it in self-defense. There's nothing to really feel guilty about. But she's been having all these flashes, and so she's telling him this, and he says to her, tell me what happened, specific details, and he tells her tied her up, did this, did that, and choked her and whatnot, and Bug says to her, show me. It's okay. So he takes her hands and has her choke him the way that Muse did. Swear to God. And I'm like, what is this meant to accomplish? Because at the end of it, because she's crying and freaking out as she's doing it, and he's like, do you feel better? And she says no and leaves. So it's Buck, are you just kinky? Were you into that? Because also, in the previous episode, during the Matt and Foggy flashbacks, we found out that Matt has a foot kink. It's what are we doing? This is... It's genuinely awful. And we have BB, because it's Daniel's birthday, because we care so much. He goes up to spend time with his mom's. BB tags along. They have this thing where, he confronts her about leaking all the info. And then the end of it, they're outside, I believe it's the funeral house or whatever for Vanessa. And all these people start protesting about how they're against Fisk and all that. And they take these big projectors and project the tape, the recordings that Matt and Karen have been taking of all the people who were in the cages that they freed from Fisk. Basically all their kind of testimonies and whatnot. And they show them on the walls. And there's this riot ensues. And Powell ends up finding... Because obviously the AVTF's there for protection. And Fisk goes down to his little room that he had from season 1 while all this is going on. And Powell basically kills because he finds the guy who helped Matt and Karen earlier, who's kind of the mole. Powell's like, oh, I know it was you. He kills him, and then he basically says oh, the rioters, they killed him. You take care of him. So they start, the AVTFs are fighting with the rioters and things. While that's going on, Daredevil shows up to Fisk's little hideout thing, which is how he found that. Don't know. He shows up and he says, I'm sorry for your loss. And Fisk says, I half expected you to be here. Is that why you're here? To offer your condolences. And in a scene that is very killing joke coded, where Batman, at the beginning of the story, goes to visit the Joker and basically tells him, this is only going to end one way. We're going to kill... One of us is going to kill the other. Or we're both going to end up killing each other. We got to figure out some other way to do this. Matt basically says the same thing to Kingman. He says, neither one of us are going to stop. All these bad things keep happening to the city we love. And Kingman says, well, what are you proposing? He goes, we both leave. We would never come to New York. You leave, I'll leave. And Fisk basically wants nothing to do with it. So he gets up and he attacks Daredevil. They have a fight. It's fine. It's an alright fight. There's a shot where Daredevil wraps the cable of his billy clubs around Kingpin's neck and he knees him in the face, homaging this one Daredevil comic cover. It was pretty cool. But it kind of just happens and it's it doesn't... why? What's going to happen here? We still have a couple more episodes. Is Daredevil just going to take out the mayor in the middle of all this AVTF stuff? Even though I think on their when they're showing off the testaments, I do believe they do mention how Daredevil saved them, and he's the real hero in this and that. And then after Daredevil and Fisk have their fight, we cut back to the rioting and the AVTF. Karen's there. She's in disguise. Her wig falls off. Just for Powell to conveniently look over and go, oh my gosh, it's Karen Page. He pulls the gun on her and the episode ends. And it's just like, well, that's, convenient. Oh my god. Yeah, so, needless to say, Daredevil not looking too good. It's just, again, it's the same stuff, honestly. Barely any Daredevil in his own show. Characters I don't care about, though. Thankfully, we haven't seen Kirsten McDuffie for a while, but who knows, she might pop up again. They've ruined Karen. I don't care about Daniel. I don't care about BB. They've turned I don't care about Kingpin anymore. Matt's the only character I care about, and he's barely around. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend, if you guys want to watch Daredevil, watch the original Netflix show. Those 3 seasons are phenomenal. But yeah, we only have a few more episodes, but then we do have one more season. We already have that confirmed, and we've actually, if for some reason you are watching the show and you don't want spoilers, feel free to click off now. But we did get some, I don't want to say set photos, but we've seen some pictures, people taking, very similar to like this season. We saw people taking pictures of Charlie Cox in the black Daredevil costume fighting the AVTF. We have some pictures surfaced from some of the filming of season 3. And I had mentioned, I think it was maybe the first episode or the episode 2 review, about how Heather kept the Muse mask and she's been having this PTSD and it looks like they're setting up Lady Muse. Confirmed, we have seen now shots of her. I don't know if it's the actress who plays Heather Glenn, but we have seen Heather in the full Muse outfit. She has like this, she has a mask on, she's got like this trench coat and whatnot, and it's just kind of like, oh joy. And I guarantee you she's gonna do more and be in more actual, have more screen time than Muse did in the first season when they completely like ruined him, which I'm still upset about. But yeah, that's gonna be it for these 2 episodes. I'm hoping something decent happens these last couple, because this is, if this is what we get for another season, it's gonna be tough. I don't even know if I'll do individual episode reviews next season. It might just be, a full season wrap up. But as always, as much as it doesn't look like I do enjoy making these videos and talking about them and putting them out there for you guys to see. And as always, I do genuinely appreciate you guys watching these, taking time out of your day that you do not have to. It does mean a lot to me. And if you guys are so inclined, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it, if you want to see more content from me. But that is going to be it for me for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace and love, everybody. Talk to you later.